When and who the Hindu, Buddhist, missionaries, preachers, who were born in pre-Islamic India entered the archipelago, Nusantara, Indonesia before. So that sites in the archipelago are called based on one of the teachings of India. That it is true that Hindu, Buddha originated from India. And it is not true that sites in the Indonesian archipelago are Hindu, Buddhist based. That, actually depicted on the website is the teachings that underlie the birth of Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainas in India. Understand this. Hinduism is a fusion or synthesis of various traditions and cultures in India. Synthesis arose around 500 to 200 BC in India. With diverse origins and without a founding figure. Grew side by side with Buddhism until the 8th century. From North India this Hindu synthesis spread to the south. Late 18th century. Hindu becomes the equivalent term for Indian, who are not Muslim, not Sikh, not Jaina, not Christian, not Buddha, includes a wide range of adherents and practitioners of different traditional beliefs. The meaning. The term Hindu is an antonym to other beliefs. Then said Hindu, with an additional suffix, ism, added circa 1830s to refer to culture and religion. This term was accepted by the Indians themselves in terms of building national identity to oppose colonialism. Hindu, as a coherent and independent gathering place for various traditions, supported by the Sanskritization of the 19th century under the dominance of Western colonialism and Indology. From this time on the term Hinduism was widely used. In short, in India before the 9th century AD, there was a formal teaching named recognized in India as well to differentiate not the two religions born in the 5th century BC. Buddhism, Jaina was also not Islam based on Veda. The base of Hinduism is Brahmanism, ancient Vedic or Vedic based teachings brought by the Saka Kakya Aryan people. This means that this understanding is carried by newcomers and a native Indian named Dravidian. The origins of religion in India began with the entry of the Aryan Kakya, Saka nation, which brought enormous changes in the life order of Indian society from 3102 BC to 1300 BC. That the Aryans were not the first inhabitants of India and the Harappan, Dravidian, civilization existed long before their arrival. This means that the Aryan nation or Vedic culture was not the sole source of early civilization in India. That the source is somewhere else. These changes occur because the Aryans carried out cultural integration with the indigenous peoples of India, Dravidas. And furthermore, this integration gave birth to 3 Indian religions. The Aryans afterwards started writing the Vedic scriptures. This holy book was written in 4 parts such as Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. These immigrants were humans who came from the archipelago. Our ancestors were Saka Kakya Aryan. The literacy of this word was perfectly recorded in Borobudur, with the word Mahetsakya. The text of the Mahabharata Udyoga Parva sentence 108 can be interpreted and even concluded that East. This is the beginning of the teachings, before being recorded as a book called Veda. The location designated East. This is where the creator of the universe first sang Veda. The meaning, literacy of the word East, in the quotation above as Southeast Asia, Nusantara, Indonesia. This is where the original Dharmic teachings originated and studied long before any teachings were born in India. So, the base of Hinduism is Brahmanism. Ancient Vedic teachings are based on Vedic, brought by the Saka Kakya Aryan. The text literacy of the word Kakya is inscribed on the bas-reliefs of Borobudur. Now it cannot be seen because it is closed. Not because technical reasons are about to collapse. And after it was published there was a relief, Porno. Kaka are the ancestors of the archipelago, written on the bas-relief of Wana Kaka Fala, Borobudur with the literary text of the word Mahachakya. The Kakya, Sakya, Shaitya, Saka nation, Great Aryan. The Kaka already existed far earlier than 78 AD from the time of conquering King Salivahana, India. This 78 AD figure is misinterpreted to calculate the beginning of the Saka year on the inscription. Various new cultural practices such as sacrificial rituals which all formed the basis of the early Hindu Vedic culture. The basis is the teaching of our ancestors. Dharmak is Dharma, Dhamma, Dhammo recorded in word literacy. Kusala Dharmabhajana. In the basic figure of the Borobudur relief. Vwana Chaka Phala is now published as Borobudur. There are 160 panels on the bas-reliefs of Borobudur which are now not exposed to the language and teachings that underlie the original teachings of our ancestors. Not from India. 12 words. Svarga, not. Nirvana, Nibbana. And the other word is Kusala Dharmabhajana. And Mahachakya. This proves that it is in this land that the teachings of original Dharma originated and are now perfectly preserved in Bali. In the past, our ancestors brought the Kaka, Saka, Kakya, Arya people out of the Indonesian archipelago. Raffles named this magnificent building with the name Bor Budur, assuming that near the site there is the village, Bor. In fact, there is no village called Bor. Budur, in Javanese means ancient. Javanese meaning Budur or Bidor. Boyles. Johannes Jasperdus Casparus. The Dutch philologist writing in his 1954 dissertation estimated its construction to be around 824 AD. This estimate, not the result of conclusions based on academic scientific research. The books that are said to underlie the design of this building are Shilpa Shastra and Vastu Sastra from India. In fact, all of these books only existed in the 5th century AD. This magnificent building had already existed before. The basic relief, which is not exposed, is published under the name Karmawibanga. It uses the interpretation of the Mahakarmawibanga text, but did not fully follow the script. Burnett Kemper's 1970, 151 and 1976. Borobudur, published based on Mahayana, India. Is it true? When the Bhikkhu Ashin Jinarakita sparked the idea of holding a national Trisuki Waisak ceremony at Borobudur on May 22, 1953. From now on, published, Borobudur based on Mahayana. A nun as well as a Thai academic concluded that only 50% corresponds with the biography of Ven. Siddhartha Gautama and the rest. He doesn't get it. In the archipelago in the 4th to 7th century AD, it was not recorded that Indian missionaries came to the archipelago Nusantara, Indonesia before. Chinese pilgrim who came to Nusantara is to learn and record the teachings of Dharmic original, which has existed for a long time in the archipelago, not bringing teachings from his country to the archipelago Indonesia before. Palembang is not a center for Buddhist teachings. Chinese pilgrims who came to the archipelago to study and record the teachings of the archipelago, which were brought to their country. Fa Huan 337-422, add travel notes translated and annotated by Korean recension of Chinese text by James Legge. The Fa Huan building with a statue in it beside a large tree is the site of Mendit. In 399 to 414 AD, Fa Huan on a journey in Svarnadvipa recorded. Following the Po Nai River is the Panay River, Kampar. In a place where the students used to live and move. Walk in circles. Surround the tope stupa as well as 4 teachers sitting in 4 corners, in which the tower has been erected Pradaksina, Prasawiya, Tawaf in Muera Takas. Sung Yun 518 to 521 AD records the existence of a power which he calls Saka Kasatrapas, from the identification of coins which are thought to have existed around 225 AD with the image of tope, or the Muerataka stupa. In 602-664 AD, Hyan Sang recorded what he saw in Svarnadvipa. Beside it is a stupa built by the king, about 200 feet high. Near this is a sign where the Tathagata is walking to and fro. Wei Ning 664 AD 667 AD traveled for 3 years on the island of Java to translate a sutra about the understanding life after death in this archipelago named Svarga. Translation assisted by a Javanese scholar named Jnanabhadra, Svarga, not Nirvana. Isinger Yi Jing, 671-695 AD. A traveler from China who came to the archipelago 3 times departed from Guangzhou sailing 20 days for 10 years in Sriwijaya 685 to 695 AD. He stayed for 6 months in Sriwijaya, 2 months in Malayu to study in Svarnadvipa Nusantara at an even older time. Long before the Vedic era 6500 BC, there was a teaching that was adopted, namely, Dharma. The original teachings of the archipelago, the Saka, our ancestors, this is the source of the initial, Dharmic original, teachings. Then in the era after it recorded its pioneer figures. Sanjaya, Sariputra, Dharmadasa 700 to 620 BC. Dharmapala 670 to 580 BC. Svarnadvipa Dharmakirtis 610 BC 520 BC. Kumarila Bhatta I 618 to 540 BC. Adi Sankara 569 to 537 BC. Kri Janayasa 6th century AD. They are Putra Nusantara pioneers of Dharmic original, whose landmark in Muotakui is now published. Muera Takas was the center of advanced civilization before 78 AD, who built sites in the archipelago as well as Nalanda in Indian Bihar, later named Srivijaya with his character Sailendra. So, true Hindu Buddhist originated from India. And it is not true that sites in the Indonesian archipelago are based on Hindu Buddhist from India. Teachings, perfectly preserved in Balinese culture. And it is illustrated on the site that the teachings that underlie the birth of Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainas in India were brought by the Kaka, Saka, Kakya, Arya. Our ancestors left the Indonesian archipelago by Santo Saba.